Sunset, moonrise, and see how the land is bathed in silver hue.
Good morning, everyone. This is Natalie, and you are watching Witches of the Moon. This week, we are discussing astral travel or astral projection. Now, this is a topic that is touchy for a lot of people. There are some people that think that astral projection is very dangerous and should never be done or should only be done under certain circumstances. There are others that claim that astral travel, is just fine if you know what you're doing, and that everyone should learn how to do it, and that it's a good way to connect with your spirit guides and with others in the spirit realm. So I'm going to discuss a little bit today about some of the sources for information about astral travel and just a little bit on my perspective of astral travel and where I get my information, just so you know. There is a book that you can get, and anytime I recommend a book, I don't necessarily agree with everything that's in the book, just so you know. It's just, I like to get lots of various sources of information, and what I do is I take everything that I read or everything that I hear and watch, and I kind of put it together and find what works for me. I don't necessarily endorse any specific thing, just so that that's out in the open. Astral travel is not, in my opinion, an easy thing to do when you are a beginner. It is something that takes a lot of practice and a lot of focus. As with anything in magic, a lot of it is visualization and having an open mind to it. For me personally, when I am working on astral projection or astral travel, I may have different purposes for it. There may be that I'm trying to get a message to a specific person, so I may want to project that out to someone. Now, I know there are those that say you shouldn't do that without the person's permission, but sometimes you have important information to impart and they may not be listening to you in the physical world, or there may be something you need to get to them and you're not going to be able to get that message to them any other way. So to me, it's, go with your conscience, obviously. I don't like to project myself into people's dreams and things, and I don't do that purposely, but I do know people who do. Dream states are a good way to reach people for astral messages like that, and astral projecting into someone else's dreams, I think, is personally a little invasive and kind of dangerous, but I do know people that do it because that's when the other person is most open to receiving a message. You can take it or leave it, however you want to do it. Now, sources for information about astral travel. There are numerous ones. You can Google it on the internet and find lots of websites on it that are astral projection or astral travel for beginners, horror stories, success stories, the whole 9 yards. Read it all with a grain of salt. Keep in mind what your personal moral compass is when reading some of this stuff, and kind of decide if this is something that's for you or no. If you are new to the craft, you might be intimidated by the idea of astral projection, and you may not want to try it for a while, and that's cool. That's fine. Raven Gramassi has a book called, and this is way backwards for you guys, I'm so sorry, The Witch's Craft. And in The Witch's Craft, he does touch on it just briefly. He doesn't have like a specific chapter about astral projection or anything like that. He does have a section called The Astral Temple. And in that section, he talks about how the astral temple is like your own personal doorway to the spirit realm. A lot of times in meditation, people aren't necessarily trying to astral project. They may be just trying to kind of connect on the spiritual level. To me, that's a form of astral projection. And when I'm doing astral projection work, it's typically in a deep meditative state. You must have an altered state of consciousness in some form or other to reach the astral plane. So in order to astral project, you have to reach that alternate level of consciousness. Now, some of the techniques that are recommended are deep breathing. A lot of them will say do some what's called diaphragmatic breathing or thoracic breathing, where you're breathing and you're not lifting your chest, you're breathing from the diaphragm, and it's deep. And usually they will recommend that you breathe in for 3, breathe out for 4. What that does is that actually releases more oxygen than you're taking in, and that creates an altered state of mind. There are other methods. Some people recommend binaural beats, which are, binaural means 2 ears, so you're listening to beat music. A lot of times drum circles, people will reach an altered state of consciousness at a drum circle, so they'll recommend maybe like a metronome beat. In fact, when I first started doing astral projection work as a child, I was about 11 or 12, when I started trying to do astral projection work. It was something I was highly interested in at the time, and that probably was not a good age at which to start trying stuff like that. But I used a metronome because I was in band, and I had access to that, and it was extremely effective. So if you have an app on your phone that's got, a metronome on it, you can try using that. What I will recommend, and this goes back to Erin's video from Monday, is you need to be in a place where you will not be disturbed, because that could be kind of dangerous to your overall physical body. When you are astral projecting, you are basically separating your etheric body from the physical body. So in a sense, you're kind of giving your soul, so to speak, or your spiritual self, permission to leave the body and travel without the physical form. That has a certain effect on your physical body, obviously, because that's why we're all in one here in this life. So when you do things like that, it can be dangerous if you are interrupted. It's almost like not waking somebody who's sleepwalking, as that can be kind of dangerous because it's almost like a shock to the body. It's the same thing when you're doing astral projection work. You want to be in a clear, free state of mind. You want to be in a state of deep subconsciousness and visualization, and you want to not be disturbed when you're in that state. Now, I know Erin mentioned in her video about the silver cord. Some people believe in that, some do not. Basically what that is that is like a lifeline that you visualize between yourself and your spiritual self, so that the two cannot be severed. There are some that believe that the reason astral projection work is so very dangerous is because when you are traveling in the astral realm, other astral beings or spiritual beings are going to come check you out. You're new meat. They want to see what's going on with you. And there are some good spiritual spirits out there, and there are some not so friendly entities or spirits out there. And some of those entities could try to attach themselves to you so that when you return to your physical body, they return with you. So that is something that you want to keep in mind. And you do want to make sure that you are good with your protection work before you start doing any kind of astral projection. You want to make certain that you are good with your visualization, which is why it's not something that's typically recommended for someone who's new to the craft. A lot of times getting into the right state of mind and making sure that your protections are up at the same time is kind of a tricky business. So it would be something I would research very heavily. Do some Googling. There is a book by, I believe it's pronounced Aidan McCoy, called Astral Projection for Beginners. It's an interesting read. That is one that talks about the beta range versus the theta range. And basically what that is it deals with your level of brain activity. When you are out and about in your daily day, your brain is kind of clicking. You've got neurons firing throughout the day. And the level of intensity of electricity that's passing in the brain, because yes, your brain does conduct electricity. You are an electrical being with a motor. That's your motor. Your motor clicks at about 8 to 12 hertz per minute. So you're going at about 8 to 12 hertz. When you're in a theta range, your brain activity is lowered. So it's between 4 and 8. And that hits right at about that stage, kind of when you're in the, waking up, not quite fully awake yet, but you're kind of awake. You're in that altered state of consciousness, which I believe Erin discussed in her video. Early morning being a good time to do it. Some people do it before they go to bed at night. Aidan McCoy actually recommends you don't do it at night, just because you have all of that toxic stuff. And I think that was something else that Erin touched on in her video, was that you want to have your mind free of all the muck, because what's there gets carried out into the spiritual world. What manifests in the spiritual manifests in the physical a lot of times. So if you have some bad stuff going on, it could be affecting you, and it could affect you long term. So clear mind. You want to be in a good state. You want to be in a good state towards yourself. You don't want to try astral projecting during a lot of shadow working and that kind of thing. A lot of times I will use a combination of factors to help me reach the altered state of mind. I know Blythe covered flying ointments. She said projection's not something she typically does, but flying ointments for meditative purposes. I recommend astral projection during a meditative state. That's when I do it. That's what works for me. I can do it any time of the day. It doesn't have to be a specific time of the day for me. I just have to be in the right frame of mind, and I have to have my visualization, and I don't want to be interrupted. It's not something I like to be interrupted in. So I will turn off the phone, turn off the TV, turn off the radio, turn off the phone. There will be no interruptions. In fact, sometimes I'll go into my closet and I'll let the dogs outside. I'll go into my closet, shut the door where I'm in the dark as well, because I don't like any of the light stimulus affecting me either, because if something passes over the light, it could affect my concentration when doing astral projection. I will sometimes astral project at night, right before I go to sleep. Again, it's typically if I'm trying to reach someone and I want to get a message to them. I may try to send that message through astral means, or if I'm trying to gain some specific guidance or ensure that I'm not going to have funky dreams. Now, I have not tried flying ointments. If you are a Scott Cunningham fan, he has a book called Oils, Incenses, and Brews, where he tells you how to make a flying ointment. I have the materials to do so, have not tried it yet. I know you can buy them, and Blythe gives you a resource for that, so that would be something to look into. That may be something that you use. For me, I will rely on a metronomic system or binaural beats. I will work on breathing techniques, and I might employ an incense such as mugwort. Mugwort is a good herb for meditation, relaxation, and any kind of divinatory work. If you're going to do any kind of divinatory work, you might look into using mugwort in your incense to kind of help open that channel for you. There are several different herbs you can use in an incense, and in fact, I'm in the process of developing an incense for meditation and astral projection work. So that might be something I share on my personal channel in future. Some cautions about astral projection I've already given you. The main thing is, don't try it if you're really new in this path. You want to research it a lot and take what you read, like I said, with a grain of salt. Pick out what you think is going to work for you, what makes sense to you. Don't give a lot of credence to the, oh, you absolutely cannot do this and you absolutely cannot do that, because there really are no hard and fast rules. There are recommendations based on other people's experience. Erin gives you some good ones on that. She recommends not traveling too far away, and I would agree with that unless you're super experienced at it and you've got a good line and a good path and you've got plenty of time, because long sessions of astral projection, the longer you're out of your physical body, the more kind of hairy, scary it gets as far as some people are concerned. And I kind of agree with that. Like I said, it has an effect. Everything you do, for every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. That kind of goes without saying. So just bear in mind that there may be some physical effects on your body when you do this. So it's something to be given a lot of thought, to be given a lot of concentration, and I think in my mind a lot of planning, especially when you're beginning doing it. Finding the time of day that works best for you. Not everybody's relaxed and good in the morning. Some people are better in the mid-afternoon. Some people are good in the evening. So it's really a time when you can clear your mind, you can open your mind, and get yourself into a frame of mind that's going to be conducive to separating the spiritual from the physical. So do a lot of research. Ask a lot of questions. Seek the advice of older older, more experienced witches who have done it frequently or are a little more experienced to get their feel back on it. Read a lot and discriminate between what sounds logical and what makes no sense at all. A lot of people try to give some, credence to themselves by saying they do this a lot when they really, obviously, when you read more into it, you can see it's not something they're truly really good at or experienced with. So just be cautious what you're doing. Be prepared for what you're doing. When you first start out, it might be a good idea to have what I call an astral partner with you, which is someone who can stay with your physical body that can kind of help talk you back into your physical body, another witch or someone else who is experienced with astral projection that kind of knows their way around it and can help bring you back if there's some sort of an issue. Not to scare anybody, because, this isn't Hollywood, okay? It's not like, you're physically going to rip your soul from your body and somebody else is going to take over your body and your soul's going to be wandering. I don't believe that's possible. Your soul is linked to your physical body, but I do believe that other things can attach itself to you, and that can create some issues. So you may want to have, I don't want to say a bodyguard, but almost like a spotter. When you're doing exercises, you need a spotter. So it might be a good idea your first couple of times of trying this to have a spotter with you, someone that can kind of work with you. And in fact, I think Rhiannon Dream Dancer mentions that her mother-in-law and her husband used to work with each other like that. And that's a really good practice to get into. And then when you get more experienced and comfortable with it, but as with anything, don't get so comfortable you become arrogant about it. Always be humble about it, and remember that there are a lot of spiritual beings out there that are very powerful, and you're never the most powerful thing out there. So enjoy it, try it with practice, with skill, with a partner, with a lot of reading and research behind it. It can be a very enlightening experience. A lot of people like to go to what are called the Akashic Records, which is where all of the information about your life and the universe is stored. Never been there myself, but I'm not above trying to reach that point of enlightenment in my path. Some people don't even believe in the Akashic Hall of Records, so yeah. Travel and find out for yourself. And I hope that you all feel you got something from this video. I realize I'm cutting it kind of short, and I apologize. You all will be seeing me again tomorrow. I will be filling in for Aaron and Lisa. They both had family things going on this weekend. We do ask for your energy and your prayers and healing for Alyssa, Lisa's daughter. She had a little minor surgery, nothing major, just a minor surgery to correct her foot this past week, and she's recovering. She did well, but she's gonna be a little sore. She's a little thing, and she wants to get up and run around, and it's kind of hard to do when you've had surgery on your foot. So some patience and healing energy there is appreciated. And Erin just had her daughter's birthday, so she's recouping from having a 4-year-old's birthday party. And if you have a 4-year-old, you understand exactly what that is. So you'll be seeing me again tomorrow. I appreciate your patience in that, and I hope that you all feel that you gained something well from this video. Comments are welcome, and I hope y'all have a blessed day. Thanks.